Right now, somewhere in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, a 19-year-old from Kansas is trying to sleep. He has 4 hours before his next shift. Above his head, an FA-18 Super Hornet weighing 33,000 pounds just slammed onto the deck at 150 miles per hour. The impact rattled every bolt in the ship. The noise was so loud it registered 140 decibels 3 decks below. He didn't flinch. He pulled his curtain shut, rolled onto his 3-inch foam mattress, and closed his eyes. Because that is just Tuesday. That is just life aboard the USS Gerald R. The world's most powerful warship. 1,092 feet of steel, nuclear reactors, fighter jets, and 4,539 human beings trying to survive the most extreme workplace ever built. And today, we are not talking about the jets. We are not talking about the weapons. We are going inside. Into the mess halls, the sleeping quarters, the showers, and the laundry rooms that keep this floating city running 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Because here is what nobody tells you. Feeding, housing, and cleaning 5,000 people in the middle of the ocean while combat operations are ongoing overhead is one of the most complex logistical operations on Earth. And the numbers behind it will genuinely shock you. Stay with us. Let's start with food. Because without food, nothing else works. On the USS Gerald R. the culinary team serves 17,300 individual meals every single day. Not 17,000, not approximately 17,000. 17,300 meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a fourth service called midnight rations for the sailors working the night shift. Because on a carrier, there is no night shift and day shift, there is only the mission. And the mission runs around the clock. To make 17,300 meals happen, the Navy employs between 93 and 114 trained culinary specialists. These are not cooks who learned to scramble eggs at home. They trained at the Navy Culinary School in Fort Lee, Virginia. They learned industrial kitchen management, mass-scale food safety, and how to run a commercial kitchen that never stops. Once deployed, they work 12 to 16-hour shifts. The temperature inside those galleys exceeds 135 degrees Fahrenheit every single day. Now look at the daily consumption numbers. Every 24 hours, the crew consumes 1,600 pounds of chicken, 350 pounds of lettuce, 160 gallons of milk, 30 cases of cereal, and 20,000 cups of coffee. That last number alone should tell you something about the pace of life on this ship. The grocery bill for the USS Gerald R. runs between $45,000 and $65,000 per day. Over $1 million every single month, just for food. And unlike a restaurant on land, they cannot simply call a supplier when they run low. Every 7 to 10 days, a massive supply ship pulls alongside the carrier, matches its speed exactly, and transfers between 400,000 and 700,000 pounds of food via a cable system. Both ships are moving, the ocean is moving, the cable is moving, and somewhere in the middle of all of that, thousands of pounds of frozen chicken are crossing from one hull to another. This is called an underway replenishment, and it is one of the most precise logistics operations in naval history. So what does mealtime actually look like on this floating city? Picture a cafeteria line stretching across multiple decks. Breakfast runs from 0600 to 0900. Sailors grab metal trays, move through the line cafeteria style, and take whatever is available. First come, first served. If the donuts are gone, they are gone. The menu rotates every 14 to 21 days, so the crew does not eat the same meals on a weekly loop. The Navy enforces strict nutritional standards. Male sailors are allocated 2,850 calories per day. Female sailors receive 2,100 calories. Every meal is engineered to sustain performance in an extreme physical and mental environment. The dining areas are separated by rank. Enlisted sailors eat in large mess halls that can feel like a high school cafeteria. Officers have separate wardrooms with slightly better furnishings and more formal service. Senior officers eat in private dining areas with white tablecloths. It is a hierarchy that extends to the most basic human act. But here is one detail most people never hear about. Once a month, sailors celebrating birthdays are seated at tables with white tablecloths, wine glasses filled with non-alcoholic beverages, and served gourmet meals, lobster, prime rib, meals that would cost $60 on land. For a 20-year-old who has not seen their family in 3 months, who wakes up every morning under fluorescent lights in a room with no windows, that dinner means more than any medal. The food quality itself has improved dramatically over the decades. Veterans from the 1970s and 80s describe mystery meat and inedible dishes. Today's culinary teams compete in cooking competitions. Some meals served on the Ford would put mid-range restaurants to shame. Fresh bread baked daily, pizza night, Taco Tuesday. These are not luxury items. They are mission-critical morale tools. Because a fed sailor is a functional sailor, and a functional sailor keeps $13 billion worth of warship operational. Now let's talk about sleep, because this is where the reality of carrier life hits hardest. Forget everything you know about comfortable beds. On an aircraft carrier, your sleeping space is called a rack. They are stacked 3 high in compartments throughout the ship. The dimensions of a standard Navy rack, 77 inches long, 27 inches wide. The mattress is a 3-inch foam pad. And here is the detail that makes people genuinely stop when they hear it. From the top of your mattress to the bottom of the rack above you, there is 20 inches of clearance. 20 inches. That is barely enough room to turn over without hitting steel. Below that foam pad is a storage bin. You also get a narrow upright locker measuring 10 by 22 by 41 inches. That is your entire personal space for the next 6 months. Everything you own, every piece of clothing, every photograph, every reminder of home. It all fits or it doesn't. Sailors learn fast to pack light. On older Nimitz-class carriers, enlisted sailors slept in massive compartments with up to 180 people. The noise from 180 people sleeping, shifting, snoring, getting up for early shifts was constant. The Ford-class carriers redesigned this. Smaller 40-person berthing units replaced the massive open compartments. Each 40-person unit has its own attached bathroom and shower facilities. Wireless internet lounges were added directly across from the berthing areas. Standard curtains were issued for each rack. These are not luxuries. They are the result of decades of the Navy studying the relationship between crew rest and operational performance. Because tired sailors make mistakes, and on a carrier flight deck, one mistake costs lives. The berthing areas are located deep inside the ship, far below the flight deck. Many sailors go weeks, sometimes the entire deployment, without seeing natural sunlight. They wake up under fluorescent light. They work under fluorescent light. They go to sleep under fluorescent light, week after week, month after month. The psychological impact of that kind of light deprivation is real. The Navy knows it. And it is one of the primary reasons morale programs are treated as mission-critical infrastructure. Here is something that does not show up in the recruitment videos: the noise. An FA-18 Super Hornet landing on the flight deck generates approximately 140 decibels at close range. For reference, a chainsaw held directly against your ear produces around 110 decibels. A gunshot is about 140. On a carrier, that sound doesn't just happen once. It happens every 60 to 90 seconds during active flight operations. And it travels through the hull, through the steel decks, through the walls of the berthing compartments. A veteran who worked the flight deck for 3 years described the sound of a trap landing from below as something that hits you in the chest before it hits your ears. It is a full-body experience. And it does not stop at night, because there is no night. Operations run 24 hours. Some sailors are sleeping while jets are landing 40 feet above their heads. To cope, earplugs and eye masks are not optional accessories. They are survival tools. Custom curtains hanging around individual racks block light. Foam earplugs block some of the sound, but nothing fully blocks the vibration. It moves through the steel and into your body while you sleep. This is the baseline. This is what normal feels like after a few weeks at sea. The human body adapts. It has no choice. Here is a question for you. Could you fall asleep, genuinely sleep, in a 20-inch high metal tube while fighter jets land directly above you? Tell us in the comments. We want to know. Because the sailors who do this every deployment will tell you it took about 3 weeks before it felt normal. 3 weeks of barely sleeping. Then suddenly your brain accepted the noise as background and you slept through everything. The human adaptation to extreme environments is one of the most remarkable things about this story. Now let's go somewhere most documentaries skip entirely: the showers. Fresh water on an aircraft carrier does not come from a tap connected to a city supply. It comes from the ocean, the Gerald R. Ford runs 2 nuclear-powered desalination plants that convert raw seawater into clean drinking water. The output, over 400,000 gallons of fresh water every single day. That water is filtered, chemically treated, and continuously tested. It is, by measurable standards, cleaner than what most Americans drink at home. But producing it is not the constraint. The constraint is moving it, storing it, and using it wisely across a ship with 5,000 people. Which is why every sailor learns the Navy shower. Here is how it works. Turn the water on. Get wet. Turn the water off. Soap your entire body. Turn the water back on. Rinse off. Done. A proper Navy shower uses approximately 3 gallons of water. The average American civilian shower uses 60 gallons. Multiply that savings across 5,000 sailors every single day, and you begin to understand why water discipline is not a suggestion. It is a survival protocol. The shower stalls themselves are bare-bones metal enclosures. No shelves, no temperature memory, no luxury. Each enlisted berthing area has 3 to 4 shower stalls shared by 80 to 100 sailors. During shift change periods, when dozens of sailors are trying to clean up simultaneously, lines form. You have a window. You use it efficiently, or you wait. On the newest Ford-class carriers, an engineering decision was made that generated significant controversy. All bathrooms were redesigned as fully gender-neutral, no urinals. Every toilet is seated. The Navy's stated rationale: flexibility in berthing assignments. If crew demographics shift during deployment, any berthing area can be converted to any gender designation without renovating the bathrooms. The practical trade-off: seated toilets require more space than wall-mounted urinals. And the vacuum-powered septic system on the Ford, designed to move waste through undersized pipes, has experienced chronic clogging problems. The Government Accountability Office identified the undersized pipe design as a flaw back in 2020. On average, the Ford deals with 2 major clogging incidents per day. When a section clogs, it can take out multiple bathrooms across an entire deck. Repairs take 30 minutes to 2 hours. During that window, sailors walk several decks to find functioning facilities. When serious clogs accumulate, and they do, the Navy performs what is called an acid flush, a full chemical treatment of the affected pipe system. Cost: $400,000. Every single time. You have eaten. You have slept 4 hours. You have taken a 3-gallon shower. Now your uniform is soaked in jet fuel, hydraulic fluid, and salt water. Welcome to the laundry problem. Aircraft carriers process 150,000 pounds of laundry every single week during deployment. 150,000 pounds every week. The laundry facilities operate 16 to 20 hours per day, 6 to 7 days a week. The equipment includes 9 large heavy-duty commercial washers, 2 specialty washers for delicate gear, 11 industrial dryers, and 12 steam presses. These machines run nearly continuously. The laundry rooms are located deep below the waterline, where ventilation is limited and heat builds. Temperatures inside regularly reach 120 to 135 degrees Fahrenheit. When temperatures exceed 100 degrees, sailors working the laundry are limited to 1-hour shifts to prevent heat illness. Every uniform is stenciled with the sailor's name before it enters the system. Socks are tied together. Small items go in mesh bags secured with safety pins. The bags travel from berthing area hampers down multiple decks to the laundry facility, where they are washed, dried, pressed, and returned. And still items get lost, mixed up, returned to the wrong sailor. The system handles hundreds of thousands of individual pieces of clothing per week. Errors are statistically inevitable, which is why many sailors quietly hand-wash their own items in berthing area sinks, despite it being technically against regulations. When the alternative is wearing someone else's uniform or losing gear you cannot replace at sea, the math is simple. The newer Ford-class carriers have upgraded to ozone-based cleaning systems that reduce hot water and soap requirements. This cuts costs, reduces environmental impact, and extends the life of uniforms. It is a small detail in the context of a $13 billion warship, but it is the kind of detail that defines day-to-day life for 4,539 people. Here is a question we want you to answer honestly in the comments. You are 6 months into a deployment. You have not seen your family. You are sleeping 4 hours at a time in a metal tube. Your only shower uses 3 gallons of water. Could you maintain your performance, your focus, your discipline? Because these sailors do. Every deployment, every year, and the Navy has started taking the psychological dimensions of this seriously. In July 2024, the USS Abraham Lincoln was upgraded with a full USO center, lounge chairs, a gaming room, a stadium-style movie theater, private soundproofed phone booths where sailors could call home for 5 minutes without anyone overhearing. The Navy called it a commitment to quality of life at sea. Veterans who served in the 1980s called it long overdue. Those phone booths matter more than the hardware in the room. Because when you are 3,000 miles from home and you have not heard your child's voice in 6 weeks, 15 minutes of privacy to make that call, that changes your next 1-2 hour shift. It changes your week. The investment in morale is not philanthropy, it is operational strategy. Here is one more layer most people never consider. 5,000 people living in close quarters for 6 months do not just get tired and hungry. They get sick. They get injured. They need surgery. The USS Gerald R Ford carries a full hospital, not a sick bay, not a first aid station, a hospital with a functioning operating room, an intensive care unit, a pharmacy, a clinical laboratory, an emergency department. 11 medical officers and 30 trained corpsmen staff it around the clock. Open ocean surgery is not an emergency exception on these ships. It is a routine operational capability. The medical team has performed appendectomies, orthopedic surgeries, and cardiac interventions while the ship was underway in the middle of the Pacific. The dental facility operates continuously. Routine cleanings, extractions, fillings. 5,000 people need dental care at the same rate as any city population. There is also a pharmacy stocked to handle both combat casualties and chronic civilian conditions. Sailors arrive with pre-existing medical needs, diabetes, hypertension, mental health prescriptions. The pharmacy fills them all, because the mission does not stop because someone needs medication. Everything inside this ship, every galley, every rack, every shower, every laundry machine, every operating room exists to serve a single purpose: keeping 5,000 human beings functional enough to operate the most complex military machine ever built. The world sees the jets. The world sees the catapult launches and the trap landings and the fighter pilots with their helmets and flight suits. That is the surface. That is the roof. Below it, 11 decks deep, in berthing compartments with no windows, in galleys running at 135 degrees, in laundry rooms at 120 degrees, in reactor spaces that some sailors serve for months without ever seeing sunlight, is the real story. A 9-year-old from a small town in Ohio is standing in a 3-gallon shower right now. A 2-year-old from Houston just finished a 6-hour shift and is crawling into a 20-inch rack. A culinary specialist from Atlanta just served her 6,000th meal of the week before the week is halfway done. None of them will make the news. None of them will get the headline. But without every single one of them, the jets stay on the ground. The mission stops. The deterrence disappears. The USS Gerald R. Ford represents a $13.3 billion investment in American military power. Its 2 nuclear reactors can run for 25 years without refueling. Its electromagnetic launch system can put a fully loaded fighter jet in the air every 45 seconds. It can generate 600 megawatts of electricity, 3 times the output of the Nimitz class. It can sustain 270 combat sorties in a single day. These are the numbers that fill the briefings and the budget hearings. But the real number, the one that actually matters, is 4,539. That is how many people wake up inside that ship every morning and choose to do this again. In a rack the size of a coffin, under lights that never go off, above engines that never stop. Eating meals they did not choose. Showering in 3 gallons of water. Calling home from a soundproofed booth 15 minutes at a time. They are not doing it for the pay. They are doing it because someone has to. Because freedom at this scale, the ability to project American power to any ocean on Earth within 72 hours, requires human beings willing to live like this, so the rest of us do not have to. If this video gave you a genuine respect for what these sailors live through every deployment, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss what we cover next. And drop a comment below. Tell us which part of life aboard surprised you the most. The food, the showers, the racks? We read every single one. See you in the next video.